today we have a long-awaited event. So we are going to actually be debating the F35 Fighter Jet. So I'm going to switch the screen over, and you will see that we have some guests with us today. So on my left, I have Andrew. Oh, sorry, that's your left, not my left. Um, I have Andrew, and on my right, I have Brandon, and they are going to be debating. So the way this is going to work out is we're gonna have a three-part debate. And so what's going to happen is one person's going to talk for 5 minutes, and then the next person is going to talk for 7 minutes, giving them a little room to add on to or refute anything that the first person said. And then the first person will then have 2 minutes at the end to try and rebuttal if they have any counter arguments for what the second person said. And then that's going to be it. And we'll go in, and I'll probably get you guys to join in on the stock market or something. But that's pretty much going to be the format. So until that, other than that, we just have to decide who's going to go first. So what I decided is that the way we're going to do this is I have calculated out what F35 would be if you translated it from hexadecimal into base 10, and so that is 3,893, and so we're gonna pick a number I'm gonna pick a random number, and then you guys are gonna pick a random number or whatever number you want between 0 and 3,893, and whoever's closer will be the one who gets to go, or you can choose which position you want to be in. So
All right.
I'm gonna get a random number. 3,893. All right, and go for it. I guess Andrew, what number are you picking?
I choose 1900.
1900. All right.
Knew he would do that. I will choose 1,350 in honor of the F-135 engine.
Oh, all right. So Andrew, you chose 1900, and Brandon, you chose 1,350. Andrew, you are very close. It was 1772, although both of you weren't that far off. So I guess Andrew, you have the decision-making ability. So where do you want to go? Do you want to go first or second?
I would like to go first.
All right. So I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock, or I'm just gonna start a stopwatch, and then you will have the floor. Let me switch out my mouse for a second. I gotta switch to my drawing tab.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna start the clock, and the floor is yours, Andrew.
All right, so I want you to draw this because I have a story to tell. The story is about an aircraft, all right? Technological marvel. For its day, it was one of the best aircraft ever designed. It could take off and land vertically. And moreover, in this configuration, it could do it and still go supersonic. Now, this is something that no other aircraft had been able to do, especially not take off vertically. Like a Harrier, no. Helicopters, hell no. You can't get the rotors to go fast enough. So you got this amazing, beautiful aircraft that can take off vertically and fly supersonic, and it was a huge technological achievement for its times. And there were other things about it that were absolutely technological milestones. The engines were all controlled through computers in order to keep everything stable. The engine at the back had this nozzle that was jointed and twisted in such a way that it would rotate down 90 degrees in order to perform the VTOL maneuvers. It had fans at the front that would pull down air and push the whole plane up. While I was in testing, this plane set no less than 12 world records. It was truly a technological marvel. 26% of the plane was made of composite materials. It was ahead of its time. And, this plane it was fantastic. It was easily one of the greatest designs ever come out of the Soviet Union. I'm talking about the Yak-41, also known as the Yak-141, which is a Soviet design, which first flew in 1987. Now, you might have noticed quite a few similarities between the plane I just described and the plane known as the F-35, which we're talking about today. And that's no coincidence because the F-35 is designed off the Yak 141 data. In fact, Lockheed Martin spent about $400 million to purchase design data from a canceled Soviet design in the 1980s to use in the F-35 program. They made some modifications, made it a little more stealthy, made it look more like an F-22, and is today being sold as the F-35. That is the plane that we are talking about today. We were talking about a plane that was pushed through the Joint Strike Fighter program that really has no business being right now. So, yeah, the F-35 it's an incredibly expensive program. It's been going on for years, competition between Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and the costs have just doubled down and doubled down and doubled down. And finally, you've reached this point where we've got one plane left, and they're throwing it into full production. Thousands of these planes are going to be produced. And it does not perform like it should. It does not perform like it needs to, or like the United States is going to need it to in coming years. This plane is built as an export. It's the successor to the F-16, and not in terms of being able to perform and being a long, stable platform, it's something that's going to be used for years. They say through 2070. It's not going to be used through 2070. This plane is being built as an export variant. It's an export variant of the F-22. It's smaller, it's lighter, it's faster, and it performs more like the F-16, where it can perform multiple roles. So we've got this incredibly expensive fighter that is trying to perform all these specialized roles, and it just does not do them well enough. It can't perform as well. Let me run some numbers by you. The F-16 comes out in this year's dollars, adjusted for inflation, $22 million a piece. The F-18, $35.4 million a piece. The A-10, $18.8 million a piece. The Harrier, $46.7 million a piece. The F-35A, the cheapest block, the cheapest variant, will cost $85 million per aircraft when production is starting up. That's almost twice what the Harrier costs, which is the most expensive thing that's going to be replaced. In fact, that's going to be replaced with the F-35B variant. So we're seeing an aircraft that is miles more expensive than any of the aircraft that it's replacing. But it doesn't offer any significant specialization, doesn't offer anything really special, except for the fact that it is basically an integrated research and development platform.
1 minute on
There's
the
tons
clock.
of new technology being brought into this aircraft. There's the infrared ranging, there's the VR helmet, but none of this technology is really useful. It doesn't need to be on this airplane. It can be on other airplanes. And the F-35, sure, the program has been extremely expensive, but it's basically just been a research and development program. And the product that we've got at the end, the F-35, is not what we need. It will be replaced by drones in the near future, within the next few decades, and easily before the 2070 deadline that the United States Air Force says that this plane can run to. It can't run till that date. It will be outdated soon. The reason this aircraft is being produced and will be
10
produced in the coming
seconds.
years is for export, not for use in the United States.
All right. That's pretty spot on 5 minutes. Good job. Okay, so now I'm going to clear the board here, and we're going to give the floor over to Brandon for his rebuttal. So, the floor is yours, Brandon, and the clock starts now.
All right, so let me begin by saying the F-35, the whole controversy behind it is it's a multi-role fighter, and Andrew thinks it does all these roles, but not as good as it should. And there's other planes that are better at the individual roles, but I'm gonna clear that all up for you. So first off, one cool thing about it is it has the CTOL, STOVL, and cattle bar. So it can do conventional takeoff or landing, short takeoff, vertical landing, and it can launch off of an aircraft carrier, all cool things. Sorry, Andrew, but the A-10, your favorite plane, one of your favorites, it can only carry 16,000 pounds of bombs. Meanwhile, the F-35 can carry 18,000 pounds of bombs. And in recent news, the GBU-12, which I'm sure you're familiar with, 500-pound bomb, air to ground, that will also soon be integrated into the F-35. Basically, it will allow the pilots to fire and forget, take out ground targets. Moving forward, The F-35 combines unparalleled stealth with 360-degree situational awareness. You entirely breezed over that. I feel like you did not give the whole helmet deal what it deserves. Like, I don't know if anyone watching knows this or not, but it allows you to look, and you can look below you and in virtual reality, see the ground, see other planes anywhere around you, no obstruction. It has been touted as the most survivable yet lethal cockpit environment to date by the pilots that fly it. So no matter what you say about the plane itself, when it comes down to it, the pilots love this plane. The nations we are selling it to, like Israel, where, you know, if you live in the worst neighborhood, you want to have the best protection. Israel is buying up these planes. They have already bought 50 of these planes with plans to buy even more of them. When you said it will potentially be in service through 2070, that's what the Pentagon has said. You seem to not agree with that. Whether it'll last through 2070 or not, I do not know, but it's going to be here for decades to come, so going to have to get used to it. Looking at the engines, I know your favorite fighter plane is the F-22, which comes with the F-119 engine. If anything, I don't think you can hate on the engine in the F-35, which is the F-135. There's no denying that the F-119 is one of the best engines ever made, and the F-135 is just a improved derivation of that. It is in the 40,000 plus pound thrust class as opposed to the 35,000 pound thrust class of the F-119. Of course, the F-22 does have two of these engines, whereas the F-35 only has one. Yes, the F-35 cannot super cruise, but with Afterburner, it can still go Mach 1.6, which is at the same level or above many of the adversary planes it will be facing. Another comment I'd like to make is you were trying to compare the cost of the F-35 to the F-16. Well, there's obviously a reason why the F-35 is more expensive. This was shown at Red Flag, which is a yearly advanced aerial combat training exercise held in Arizona by the Air Force. The F-35 actually came out with a 20-to-1 kill ratio versus these planes. Primarily the aggressor planes were F-16s, which were, of course, painted, not that that's a big deal, but to look like the enemy planes, and they were equipped with similar strike packages. And the F-35 beat these planes 20-to-1. So if the plane's 5 times more expensive, but it's killing 20 times as many planes and protecting our pilots, I think that's more important than money. I have a quote here from a pilot at Red Flag. He says, "I flew a mission where our 4-ship formation of F-35As destroyed 5 surface-to-air threats in a 15-minute period without being targeted once. After almost every mission, we shake our heads and smile, saying, we can't believe we just did that." So the stealth capabilities of this plane are incredible. Another, going off of that point, you've said in the past that the F-35's whole Gatling gun situation is pretty much pointless since it can only fire for a little over a second. Well, I mean, that kind of dogfighting is not really relevant anymore. The F-35 can lock onto enemy planes from several miles away. It will have missiles on the way to destroy those planes before the enemy planes can even find it on their radars. So, I mean, it's a new game of dogfighting. I have another quote here from a pilot. "There's nothing that I have seen from maneuvering an F-35 in a tactical environment that leads me to assume that there's any other airplane I would rather be in. I feel completely comfortable and confident in taking that airplane into any combat environment." So like I said, whether you like it or not, whether it's overpriced or not, I agree. Entirely overpriced. The development of it, it's taken too long, but where it is now, it has come incredibly far. The pilots are incredibly satisfied with it, and that's the reason why we're selling it to these high-risk nations. Also, whether or not it is fully capable of every mission it does, I agree. You can't design it to be perfect at everything, but it will be supported in these missions by F-22s. Like the F-22s can provide, and that's the plan, provide air support while the F-35s go in with their ground strike packages. Um, so I see I'm running out of time, but a couple conclusion points. It has the ability to fly virtually undetected. It can lock on with laser precision from miles away. It has real-time virtual reality, and that allows pilots to fight like never before. And it is a jet capable of flying any arrangement of missions, any configurations of weapons. Thank
All
you.
right, that's about 7 minutes, so I'm gonna stop you there, and we can give it back over to Andrew for one final rebuttal. He's got 2 minutes to talk, and we're gonna clean the slate here. So there you go, Andrew. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I just want to address what you've been talking about point by point. First of all, you mentioned that it can do CTOL, STOVL, catapult takeoff landing, and that's all very well and good, except for the STOVL part, which actually degrades the performance of the aircraft because the A and C variants are built off the B. The B was the first variant, it's the STOVL variant. The other two were built off the B. And unfortunately, because of this, they have extra weight that they don't need because they're not STOVL capable. They don't need all the extra airframe structure that the B variant has. And unfortunately, because the aircraft came from the B variant, all the aircrafts are affected by this, and it negatively affects their performance. Also, you've mentioned that it's good for close air support. It's good for close air support in the sense that the F-16 is good for close air support. Um, they're decent, and they do carry a lot of bombs, so they can't do any sort of gun runs. They don't have the loiter capabilities either of the A-10. The A-10 can stay around the battlefield for quite a lot longer than the F-35 can and provide support like that. So it does not have the same sort of close air support abilities because that loiter capability is extremely important. Not to mention the difference in price tag, $18.8 million versus $85 million. That's a huge, huge price point, and that's not something that the F-35 needs to be performing. So it's not something that it needs to be replacing. It doesn't need to be able to be stealthy in order to perform close air support missions. Also, you brought up like the VR helmet and things, and yes, those are very advanced technologies, very good. But like I said, the F-35 basically becomes a platform for all these advanced technologies. It doesn't actually contribute much to the airplane itself. It's just kind of amalgamation of all these advanced technologies that could be distributed to other airplanes, and they would outperform the F-35. Also, you mentioned Israel. Israel's best protection is cooperation with the United States, not necessarily the F-35. The F-35 purchasing fulfills that, but it's not necessarily the best thing. Also, you mentioned gets up to Mach 1.6. You failed to mention that's through like 3 Wachowski maneuvers that burn up pretty much all of its onboard fuel, so not really relevant.
All right, that's 2 minutes. So we're gonna call it there. And if you have any comments from the audience, we can see those in the chat. But from here on, that is going to be the debate. Is there any just like one sentence closing statements either you guys want to say?
I know I don't get the full rebuttal, but Andrew says the whole development of these technologies, it could just be given to other planes. But at the same time, he's complaining about the price point of the planes. So I mean, it goes hand in hand. You can't call out one thing, but then try the benefits to the other. See where he's coming from now.
All right, Andrew, do you have
Yeah.
one last line you want to say?
All I can say is that this plane isn't going to perform as well as it's predicted to, and is basically just an export. It's not what this country needs.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. You can decide who you thought won in the comments. I might put a poll up on the video after the video is live. Actually, I can probably set that up now while we're talking. But what we're going to be switching over to is the stock market. So I'm going to actually switch out my mouse for a second. And then we'll get that. And hopefully, I noticed that my mic seemed to be picking up your guys' mic a little bit. Hopefully that didn't sound bad on the stream. Hold on, we're gonna the Excel sheet. And then I'm gonna set up a poll here. All right, so if you're watching on the stream, there's a poll that you can go up to in the corner, and you can click on that and you can vote for who you thought won the debate. But other than that, we're going to switch our attention over to the stock market. So I don't know if you guys have the stream up for on your end, but I have the stock market page up right now. Just to give you an idea, we have a couple people below their starting value of 100,000 and a couple people above their starting value, and then Megan and myself are pretty high up there. But what I've been saying for the past few times when we updated the stock market is that I've decided that I'm going to cut this stock market competition off at 26 weeks. So as of right now, we're in week 21. So that gives you guys 5 weeks if you want to try something out. But I'm going to revamp it so it's a little easier for people coming in later in the competition to be able to grow their portfolios. But I'm going to add your guys' names to the page here, and then we should be able to get you guys situated with your stocks. So the way this works is you have 100,000 Janos to spend, and currently the values for our individual stocks are red at a value of 126, yellow at a value of 123, green at a value of 225, and blue at a value of 328. So I guess, Andrew, if you want to go first, what's piquing your interest? And also, if you want to know anything about the historic data, like how stock have gone, I have the graph as well. I can explain.
All right. Yeah, I'd like to put it all in yellow.
You're going all in on yellow.
All in on yellow.
So as much as you can spend. So you have
As much as I can spend on yellow.
100,000, and the current value of yellow is 123. So we're gonna see how much you can get.
I'm just going to go by volume here. Many stocks as I can get. Going from
All right. Well, I mean, it is a good strategy late game because you need the biggest change you can possibly get. So the maximum amount of yellow stock you can get is 813. So is that what you want to do?
That sounds good to me.
All right. So you're gonna put 813 in yellow, and then what does that leave you off with? Minus 813 times 123. That leaves you with that doesn't seem right. Sorry about that. Let me just multiply this by 123. Oh, I know what I'm doing. So 813 times 123 is 99,999. So you have exactly one Jono in your bank.
Nice.
It's always good to keep a Jono around, so I've heard.
True.
All right, so Brandon, what would you like to do?
I'm going to go 50-50 in terms of price, not number of stocks, because I know it'll be easier that way.
Right.
Half yellow, half blue.
Half yellow, half blue. All right. So
Try and buy yellow low, but I've always been a strong supporter of the blue stock. So
that is true, and it has been on a pretty consistent upwards trend throughout the time. But I know that there have been the dark days for blue, but I think those are in the past, considering the previous trend. So you're gonna go 50,000 on blue. So that's gonna be 328. That will give you 152 blue. Does that sound good?
fantastic.
All right, so you're gonna go 152, and then that will give you a little bit extra to buy yellow. Do you want to spend that extra on the yellow, or do you want to keep that in your bank?
I will spend that extra.
All right, so if we do 152 times 328, and 100,000 minus that, you have 50,144, which will give you one extra yellow stock. So we can divide that by 123, and that should be 407 yellow stock. So does that sound good for you?
Of course.
Okay, so you're gonna have 0 there, and um, that leaves you with 83 Jonos left over in your bank. And if you're wondering where the poll is, I believe it's in the top right corner. There's a little eye icon, and you can click on that. Um, but that is how we're standing. So I actually have to. I've never had to do this before, but I have to sort the stock market right now because you guys haven't lost any money and some people have. So um, you immediately jumped up 2 spots. Congratulations.
Let's go.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I've got for you today. Is there anything you guys want to say before we sign off here?
The F-35 is trash.
Rude. No, I would like to say that this has actually very much been an ongoing argument, our biggest argument for
Constantly back and
months,
forth.
maybe years, and this solved nothing. So
Yeah, this will not end it. It will go on.
maybe we can do another stream next year.
Yeah. We'll see if there's any new events going on, and then we can get you in. Because I definitely want to get you guys into the stock market once it resets, because then it'll be a little bit more of a competitive situation. But all right. So we're gonna be signing off, but thank you guys for watching. I should be streaming Sunday. I think Megan's gonna join me for some tax. But until then, I'm signing off. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.